Hello and welcome back to yet another session of discussions series with Edvisory. Today we have our guest from MPOWER Finance. MPOWER Finance is one of the biggest student loan lenders in the world that helps with collateral-free loans for international students. Today we are going to talk about the benefits of MPOWER financing lending options for Indian students. And for that we have Yuvish. So hi Yuvish.
Hi Priyag, thank you for having me here.
We are so happy to have you. So let's start, Yuvish, without further ado. Why don't you go ahead and briefly introduce yourself and what MPOWER does?
Sure. So hi, my name is Yuvish. I handle partnerships for MPOWER Financing for the India region and the emerging markets, which is South Asia, Africa, LATAM. And MPOWER Financing, we are a financing firm started by international students back in 2014. And we are a loan provider helping students with no collateral, no cosigner loans. To give an introduction or to tell you how we started. So we started back in 2014, and the main reason was that students who are maybe planning to go for the studies in the US and Canada, they require a certain bit of security to apply for a loan, which could be a collateral or a cosigner. And we thought that a lot of students who do not have a collateral or a cosigner gets left out in the process of applying for a student study abroad loan because of that. And we thought that let's make it more progressive in nature. And we came up with a product which could allow you to take a loan on the basis of the future potential that the student holds. So let's say once a student has got an admission into one of the programs in these universities, we assess what kind of salary potential or career potential the student will have once they are done with the program, and will they be able to pay off the debt once they are done with the program for the next 10 years. So that is how MPOWER works. Till now, so we support students from all over the world. So we support 200 plus countries, and the loans are eligible for all degree seeking programs in top 350 universities in the US and Canada.
Okay. All right. That sounds brilliant. 350, you said, number of universities in US and Canada. Okay. So let's say if somebody has, so the process actually begins when somebody has already gained an admit, right? Now,
Right.
there would be people who are not very sure if they would be able to procure loans from Indian banks. So how does that really work? Because my point here is, if I'm a student and if I apply to, let's say, 5 universities, I've already invested certain kind of money in application fees and the process,
Right.
including time and efforts, right? Now, after 2 or 3 months, if I go to the bank in India and they deny my loan, which a lot of banks do without any further, legit reason. So can I actually get a sense or an idea from MPOWER regarding a profile evaluation before applying to universities? Or do I have to wait for an offer letter? Then only I can approach you.
So as I said, that our loan is based on the university that the student is going for and the program that the student is going for. Now, we do not take the GRE score or a GMAT score to give out a loan or a conditional offer letter to the student. That is the normal process in Indian banks or NBFCs which are currently working, that you need to have a certain kind of GRE score or a GMAT score, and then you can maybe get a conditional offer letter. And once you have the offer letter, then you can maybe get a sanction and go ahead with the process.
Right.
For us, we need to have a conditional offer letter from the university,
Okay.
or an approval letter from the university, the admit letter. So after that, let's say if you're eligible with 5 universities or you've got an admit from 5 universities, you can start an application for all the 5 universities. And as I said, that we do not really restrict only to STEM and MBA program. All the degree seeking programs in these universities are eligible for an MPOWER loan.
Okay.
So the bucket size is bigger. The scope of applying for a loan with MPOWER is bigger than maybe going to an NBFC or a bank. And so even if you're going for maybe masters in marketing or economics or history or arts or theater, you can still apply for a loan with us. And our eligibility process is very simple. You can check your eligibility in 30 seconds coming to the website. Just put in your program details and when you are getting graduated in that program and the university. And if the university is eligible, then you go ahead with the eligibility process. It gets approved, and then you start with the application.
Right.
So this is how the normal process looks like.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So, first of all, thank you for explaining that. Now, my second question is related to the comparison between Indian banks and MPOWER. So, if let's say I, as a student, have already gained an admit, should I go to my banks and wait for their approval, or I can directly contact MPOWER and prefer MPOWER over Indian banks? What is the difference? What advantages do I have as a student while going with MPOWER and not going with banks? Of course, there is a possibility if banks reject my loan, then I can approach MPOWER. But I'm just talking about the advantages of MPOWER over Indian banks.
So, I mean, as a suggestion, the student should be trying all the options for themselves, and we believe that I mean, ultimately, student has to pay all this loan, and wherever they feel comfortable, they should be going ahead with that kind of loan.
Right.
For us, I mean, the benefits are that you first of all get a fixed rate of interest.
Right.
So we have a fixed rate of interest. It does not change with the economic scenarios, and you are seeing that in the COVID times, the economic scenarios are changing. And with variable interest rate lenders, the interest rate also changes.
Right.
It happened back in 2018 as well, due to a scam that came out in India. And I mean, there might be multiple reasons why the interest rate could change.
Right.
So you get a first of all fixed rate of interest, then your disbursement directly happens to the school. Okay. You do not have to take care of the forex charges or the loan insurance charges while applying for MPOWER loan. Right. We do not have an upfront processing fee that you have to pay. So your processing fee, or we have a loan origination amount that gets added to the loan amount.
Okay.
Now you will be paying it in terms of EMIs, but not upfront money that you have to shell out. I mean, first of all, you need to be ensuring that you're going ahead with the program.
Right.
And let's say if you take a disbursement from one lender, and let's say because of COVID, you I mean, change your session from maybe fall 21 to spring 22, still you will be paying interest on that loan. Right. But for us, I mean, once the disbursement is done, then you will be eligible. I mean, you are mandatory allowed to pay interest, and before that, you are not facing any kind of charges on the loan.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I think that's lots of benefits for students. So my next question is, how student loans work? Like, what are the steps involved? I believe you have already explained that in different ways, but let's simplify it. So what is the step number one when I have already got the admission letter? How do I contact MPOWER? How do I know, like, and how much time would that take? What documentation is required? So what is the loan process? Can you simplify it?
Got it.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, we are a tech-enabled platform. So the application is online. You do not have to visit a bank or get connected to the executive to start with the application. You just go to the website, you check your eligibility in 30 seconds about the loan. If you're eligible, you will be asked to complete the application. The application takes about 30 minutes to be completed. We'll take 3-4 main information from you. First is the KYC information. Second is your previous education, previous education and degrees information. Then your work history information, and what are the kind of funds required that you require. So these 4 sections you have to fill in, and once you're done with the application, you will be given a portal where you can check the status of the application as well as upload the documents and complete other steps. So you will be required to do a credit check. I mean, give us a permission to do a credit check, then complete the references as well as do an intro quiz. Now the intro quiz includes information regarding the loan product that you're going for, so that you understand what MPOWER Financing loan is all about. Okay. What kind of EMI or what kind of term this loan product has, and we make sure that you understand the product wholly before getting into it. Right. And then it takes about 5 to 7 business days to give a final decision on that. Okay. And as you have a portal, you can always check where the application is, and you will also be assigned a relationship manager from our side who can help you with the process. Okay. So it's a very student-driven process. I mean, student is at the forefront of starting with this process, completing with this process, as well as they can also keep a check on where the application is in the funnel.
Right.
So yeah, the power is given to the student. How do they want to move ahead with this?
Okay. All right. So if I understand well, if a student, let's say, is sitting in Chennai or Jaipur or Delhi, they don't have to go anywhere, and they can just go onto your website and apply for the loan, and they can, track the loan process as well, and they would also get the approval on email, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. That sounds very interesting. All right. Let's talk about the other aspects of the student loan. In India, there is a huge problem for people who want to study abroad because of the collateral involved, right? Now, most of banks in India, they would not be really lending an amount of more than 7.5 lakhs for students who want to study abroad. And we all know 7.5 lakhs is like peanuts because the degrees are so expensive. Also, the cost of living is expensive. I would come to that question as well, if cost of living is also covered by MPOWER loans. But my premier question is, what about collateral? Somebody needs collateral. What about people who do not have a solid economic background? Let's say a person from middle class or a lower middle class, but he or she has got an admission in, let's say, Columbia University, right? So how does that work for these students?
So as I said, that we do not require a collateral or a co-signer to apply for a loan. The vision or the motive to start MPOWER was this only, that we want to help out students who are coming from maybe a weaker social background or economic background and have high potential, and that means they have got admit from one of the best universities in the world, and they can study, they can actually move ahead in their life in terms of career or financial aspirations. And this is what our vision is as well, that we want to enable high potential students who are coming from different backgrounds, and this collateral or the economic background of your family or of you should not be a hindrance in going ahead with the program. So as I said, that the loan is purely based on the future potential of a student and the career potential of a student.
Okay.
And we check it from different data points. First of all, what kind of program or what kind of university that you're going for, what kind of career potential you will have once you're done with that program, or you have passed out from that university, and how you have maybe performed in your previous education or in work. So, and we do not take your parents' information as well.
Okay.
The loan is purely based on the student and their potential, what kind of potential they'll have once they're done with the program.
Okay, so this is interesting because you're saying people, first of all, don't need a collateral. They don't need to have an ITR, because a student is a student. If you don't require parents' information, certainly they won't have an ITR, and no other information as well. So purely on the college and future potential of the student, right? That's
Right.
very interesting. All right. Now, my follow-up question is again the cost of living, because again, in most of the countries, cost of living is quite high compared to some European countries. MPOWER only assessed students for US and Canada. The cost of living is also very high. So do you also cover that?
We do cover that. We cover the off-campus living as well as on-campus living, and any other expenses which are mentioned on the I-20 or on the college website.
Okay.
So let's say if book expenses are mentioned over there, you can also apply for a loan for books.
Okay.
And obviously tuition is covered, meals, off-campus living, as I said, and any other expenses which might have been mentioned on the college website or for that program. So
All
you can apply for those.
That's great. Lots of issues of students are, I think, resolved by now. My next question is not a lot of questions, just a couple of questions. So my next question is, what is the maximum amount a student can actually take funding for? For example, if somebody is going for Ivy Leagues, the tuition is very expensive. If somebody is going for a 4-year program, obviously cost of living is going to be multiplied. So how do you assess that, and what is the maximum amount a student can be lent?
So for us, we only cover, the 2 years of education.
Okay.
That means for an undergrad program, it's the last 2 years, which is the 3rd year and the 4th year.
Okay.
For masters, we can cover both the years, first and the 2nd year. And we also support PhD programs as well. So for them, last 2 years we can only cover the last 2 years.
Okay.
The maximum funding that we provide is $50,000,
Okay.
which will be divided, in multiple semesters or multiple academic years.
Right.
And for one academic term, that could be a trimester or a semester,
Right.
you can take a maximum of $25,000.
Right.
So, $50,000 can be, minimum division would be for 2 semesters.
Right.
So, $25,000 in first semester, $25,000 in second semester.
Right.
And as I said, that it's a fixed rate interest loan, so your interest rate remains the same.
Okay.
Plus, we also provide interest rate discount
Right.
for regular payments and completing your graduation, and that could actually bring down your interest rate by 1.5%.
Okay.
So, for graduate international students, we have an interest rate of 11.99%, which is fixed rate interest, and we provide 3 interest rate discount of 0.5% each. So you can effectively bring down your interest rate to 10.49%.
Okay.
Again, it's a fixed rate interest. It does not change during the term of the loan.
Okay.
And it's a 12.5-year loan, including your time of education, plus a 6-month moratorium period after your education, and then a 10-year term repayment period for the principal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My final question to you is, when does the repayment start? So let's say if I have taken a loan to study for 2 years and I get a job, let's say 6 months after my graduation, not immediately after my graduation, 6 months after my graduation.
Right.
So how does the repayment work?
So the repayment starts 45 days after the disbursement, and it's simple interest amount that you have to pay while being in college. So let's say if we disburse $10,000 to the school, depending on your fee timeline, you would have to pay around $100 per month as simple interest on that amount. And then once you're done with the program, we give you a 6-month moratorium period where you can again keep on paying the simple interest amount.
Okay.
And after 6 months, your principal EMI kicks in.
Okay.
So that will be simple interest plus principal amount divided by 120 months.
Okay.
So that is how, to simplify the calculation.
All
So let's say if you're taking $50,000, that amount will be divided into 120 months
Okay.
for the next 10 years. Plus there will be a simple interest amount that you keep on paying on this loan.
All right, perfect. So, if I understand well, I think first of all, thank you so much for all the answers. I think I have all my queries resolved on behalf of students. So, if I understand well, if I'm a student who wants to go to US or Canada, the first thing is that I need to have an admission from the 350 universities partner list that you have. We can find the partner list on your website, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
We have a section called Schools We Support on the website, so you can just go there and check if the school is eligible for a loan.
Okay. All right. I'll put the websites link in the description for students. So if I understand well, I can get an admit from the 350 universities that you partner, and once I have the offer letter with me, I can just simply go to your platform and apply for the loan. I will have to fill in the information which is required, not any financial information of my family or parents. And how much time did you say it takes for the approval?
Takes about 7 to 10 business days.
7 to 10 days. All right. So in 7 to 10 business days, I think this is a very fair deal for all the students. All right. Thank you so much. You wish any words of suggestions or tips for our audience? Because I'm sure after this discussion, a lot of students are going to contact you. We would put your contact in your team's contact in description as well. So any word of suggestion or tips from you for all those international students Indian students who want to study abroad, especially in the US, Canada?
Right. So, as I said, that students should not be restricting themselves for the loan options, because again, it's a commitment of 12 years, 15 years, 10 years for you, and you should always be looking at the best options that is available to you. So that is one thing. And as I said, that MPOWER loan process is free of cost. You can start with it. You can take an approval. You get a free visa sanction letter, and that too from a US based entity. So the credibility of that sanction letter is better than what students might get, because we are connected with the embassies, we are connected with embassies also know about MPOWER Financing. It's a US based entity, so it could work in your advantage in that sense. Plus, we provide multiple resources as well to students, and we understand that. So we understand if our students are not succeeding once they are done with the program, we will not succeed.
Right.
And we have a program called Path to Success, where we help out students with career opportunities, mentoring, networking, helping students out in understanding the US market. So, we understand that a lot of students might be first generation students who are going to the US, and they might not understand how finding opportunities work in the US, or how could you network, or how could you maybe get a job. So we provide a lot of resources on that front. Right. So we go well and beyond an identity of a lender, right, and help out students with their career opportunities as well, and finding a job in US and Canada. Right. Plus, we also are a lender which helps with the gap funding option. So let's say if you have already applied for a loan with someone, and you are falling short of maybe 10% amount or 15% amount, you can still come, go ahead and apply with MPOWER Financing and cover for those costs. It might not be possible for you to apply to 2 NBFCs or 2 banks to take a loan, but you can very well apply with one NBFC or one bank and then apply with MPOWER to cover up for gap funding. So that is one option I always tell Indian students, because obviously the cost of education is high. You require $70,000, $80,000 to cover up the cost of funding for a 2-year program. And as I said, you need not to restrict yourself to one option. Try all the options, whatever works best for you, you go ahead with that, and move ahead with your education. And it's a big step in your life. You are planning for your future, you are planning for your career aspirations, and right, you should be clear of all these things beforehand. And not, know about it when all of this is taking course in the future. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Yavish. That was a solid advice. So summarizing it for all the viewers and audience of Edvisory and MPOWER today. So first of all, it's an easy loan process, number 1. Number 2, you don't require, there is no collateral needed, right? The process is very fast, 7 to 10 working days, you get the result. You don't have to visit anyone. You don't have to go technically, physically anywhere. Everything is tech driven and student driven. You have gap funding. For example, if somebody has taken a loan from a different bank and they're falling short of funds, they can still come to you and you would help them. And you are providing a limit of $50,000 for all the students. Wow. I think there is no reason why Indian students should not be taking assistance from MPOWER. The best part was that you also have mentorship programs going on for these students, because a lot of companies, they actually care about just business, and you are also caring about their future and their jobs and careers ahead in these countries. So first of all, thank you so much to MPOWER, and thank you so much, Yavish. I believe everybody had their queries resolved. If you have any questions, please put into the comment section. We would try to answer that. We would, as I said already before, we would connect you with MPOWER and Yavish in the description. So feel free to connect with them, and we wish you all the best for your future career options. Thank you so much, Yavish. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Point very interesting, which was missed by us. Rather by me. So I'm going to ask Yavish again. Yavish, you were telling me something about FICO Score. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so we help out students in building credit history in the US, or a credible FICO score. So once they start paying the simple interest, they get a credible FICO score established in the US, which could work for them in a lot many ways. First of all, you are eligible for the financial products which are offered in the US. You could maybe get a credit card or a bank account, or maybe rent a car, rent a house, and things like as small as renting a house. The landlord actually checks for your credit history. Right. And if you have a credible FICO score, it could work well in your favor. Plus, let's say if you're applying for internships or jobs, employer also do a credit history check for the student. And someone who has a credible FICO score would get a leverage than someone who does not have FICO score in the US. Right. So, this does not happen in India. You have a CIBIL score, but it's only eligible for you to apply for maybe bank accounts, or maybe credit cards or loans or things like that. But FICO Score plays a big role in the US, and that is one thing that you can take leverage of. And you get it free of cost when you are paying the simple interest amount. And once you're done with 6 monthly payments of simple interest, timely monthly payments, you get a top tier FICO Score established in the US, which could be a 750 plus CIBIL score in India. So, and obviously it opens a lot of channels, a lot of mediums for you to support your education or support your job in the US, or all in all your life in the US.
True.
I mean, you would be eligible to apply for loans or credit cards, and you can take leverage of those things.
Right.
So yeah, that is one point I missed, but I think students should be
No, I think that's wonderful. MPOWER today, I mean, it's a revelation for me as well, because MPOWER is not just a lending platform. It actually sets your career path in right direction, because MPOWER helps you not only in funding but also in mentorship of jobs, as we already mentioned, and also in building your financial history, right? So this is very, very important. Thank you so much, Yavish, and once again, I think for audience this was a very valid, interesting point. Thank you.